In this episode, we're going to talk about the gray man. Have you ever heard of the term the gray man? Just be the gray man. Don't stand out. Right? Don't draw unnecessary attention to yourself. We've all heard the term the gray man. But what this really talks about, what the real important thing here is, do we want to thrive or do we want to survive? Right? Do we want to just live or do we want to prosper? So what happens is, and I'll talk from personal experience, I remember when I get out to buds, everyone's like, hey man, you just want to keep your head down. Don't draw too much attention to yourself. You don't want the instructors to get after you. You know what I mean? Because you see someone show a sign of weakness and you see the instructors come in and they start smashing on them and you're like, oh dude, I don't want that, I don't want that, right? And we're all a little intimidated when we show up. We go to new thing, maybe it's not even buds, you know, you show up to a new office or you know, you come onto a new sports team or you move to a new town, go to a new school and you're like, oh dude, I don't want to draw any attention. You know, I just want to get through. I just want to be the gray man. I don't want to, you know, no attention is good for me. You know what I mean? And what happens is this builds a lack mentality. It is very hard to be a winner when we're self-sabotaging, trying not to win that much, right? I work with a lot of police departments and firefighters and people who are government employees, and not to hammer you guys, right? But there's a lot of people who've done like 12 years, they're getting a little older, and they're watching the clock, they're watching for their retirement. And they're like, hey man, I'm just here, I've done 12, I'm just gonna ride it out, you know, just gonna try to ride it out, and the new guys show up and the new guys are all excited and motivated, like, hey, easy dude, pump the brakes, man. You're making us old timers look bad. Just chill out. Instead of encouraging and motivating them to be, you know, to drive on and to, you know, try to hit new levels and move the program or move the department forward. They're like, hey dude, you just need to chill out, man, with all that, right? You just, right? So now what happens within the department, everything starts to get pushed down because we got a few people who just want to ride it out. Right? When we have a mentality like that of just riding it out, okay, it builds lack. The department lacks in its forward momentum to grow, okay? Your personal capability to win decreases because you're not trying hard because you're afraid of winning. You're afraid that if you win, people will take notice, and if people take notice, you're not confident enough that you can manage that onslaught of negative attention, right, that you may draw upon yourself if you do start winning, right? Hey man, if we're going to do the run, don't be first. If they see you coming first, they're going to know who you are. You don't want them to know who you are. You're like, oh, okay, you first get in, you're like, okay, yeah man, yeah. That seems to make sense. So I'm just going to be here and just do this. And then what happened to me was this. There was a switch. I was young. I was intimidated. I was excited, but it was intimidating at the same time. So as much as I was excited to be there and to, you know, oh man, I'm here at Buds, I'm doing SEAL training. At the same time, I was like, holy crap, I'm here at Buds and I'm in SEAL training, right? It was like this emotional teeter-totter going back and forth. Once I started looking around the class and realizing that everyone was in the same position as me, my confidence started coming up because I'm like, hey dude, everyone here is a man just like I am, and I don't see anything here that's like superhero-like, right? Maybe I wasn't as big as the other guys, but there was some guys who were fat and they were performing. Some guys were tall, some guys were short. So where some guys were short and like, man, these guys are really tall. I'm skinny, I'm like, man, these guys are big, right? The other dude's fat and he's like, dude, these guys are real thin. So everyone has their own perspective or coming in, but we're all experiencing the same thing, maybe just in a different way. When I started to realize this, I was like, dude, you know what? I don't want to just like survive Buds. I want to crush Buds. I don't want to just be one of the guys in the pack on the run. I want to win the run. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just do the O course. I want to have the fastest time on the O course. I don't want to just be one of the guys in the class. I want to get honor man, and I want the dudes in the class to look up to me and go, that dude is by far the best and we respect him. Now, I didn't win honor man in buds, right? I got honor man in scout sniper training, but like in buds, I didn't get honor man. When I was in A school, I got honor man, right? It's one of those things, though. Do you take pride in what you do? And if you take pride in what you do, it's very hard for you to just sit back and just be the gray man. But you don't want to be the gray man, because there's going to come a point in time, right, when you are challenged and the people around you are going to have to look to you and go, do we give him the benefit of the doubt? Or do we even know who this guy is? If you're just some dude who's always just doing just enough to get by, to stay in that gray position, you're going to be very, very surprised when you come head to head with something that is the make or break pivotal moment in your career, in your life, in this process of training. Don't be surprised when no one comes to bat for you, because you've never gone to bat for yourself. And if you're not going to bat for yourself, you're probably not going to bat for the team. Think on that. So building lack mentality, who wants to go to war with someone who half-asses everything they do because they don't want to draw attention to themselves? Who wants to work with someone who has that gray man mentality? I don't. Do you want to work with someone like that? So now let's go back. Let's go to second phase in buds. If you're not familiar with the Navy SEAL training, basic underwater demolition school, second phase is where we start doing the dive training. And we're getting in the water, we're doing all the underwater scuba stuff, and then it starts going into rebreathers. I remember a day on the pool deck, which was, it sucked. It was like the worst. We were getting punished, and I got a glimpse at what was going to be, this is in first phase, or no, this was still in second phase, but it was one of the times we had gotten in trouble as a class and we were being, we call it getting beat, where they make you work out really hard and do things that are really miserable. So we're getting beat on the pool deck. We had just been to lunch. Okay, we come in, we're late, whatever it was, they had us doing all these exercises, and then they get us on the edge of the pool deck. So imagine here's the pool, and we're laying down with our head over the edge of the pool, and our bodies are on the pool deck with our feet the furthest away from the edge of the pool. Okay, we have our fins on, we have our masks on, we're getting ready to go do the dive training. They're like, nope, stop, we're not doing dive training right now. What we want you guys to do is flutter kick. So you lay on your back and kick your legs up and down, right, like you're swimming. But this time, they had us put our masks on. And then they had us lay our head back into the pool, fill our masks up with water, and tilt our head back and count 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, with our masks full of water, with our head tilted back. Well, what happened for me, right, is I was sucking water up my nose, which was going into my lungs and my mouth, right? And I was literally, I was getting waterboarded. I was waterboarding myself, and I'm choking, and I'm throwing the water up, and it's coughing it up, and I'm like, you know, kind of freaking out. Like, I'm not getting up. I'm still doing the flutter kicks, but I can't count because every time I count, I'm choking on the water, right? So the instructors see this, they sense weakness. And next thing you know, I have all these instructors around me, and they're just, what's wrong with you? Why isn't there any water in your mask? Fill your mask up. And I'm like, trying to get the water back in my mask, and they're screaming at me, and there's 5 of them standing over top of me yelling, and I'm trying to do the flutter kicks, and I'm just drowning and choking on all this water, and they keep making me filling my mask up. This goes on for like a solid 5 to 10 minutes, which when you're being waterboarded, right, for all intents and purposes, that's basically what this turned into. That's a really long time. And it went on to the point where I actually started throwing up, and I started throwing up all my food, and I got throw up all over the 2 dudes next to me. It was disgusting. It was horrible, right? But I didn't quit. And I kept doing the flutter kicks. I kept refilling my mask, right? This went on, and they were for sure that I was gonna quit. but they couldn't get me to quit. And I kept going, I kept pressing through it, and I felt like I was going to die. It was absolutely exhausting. I'm covered in puke. My buddies are covered in puke. It's disgusting. It stinks. It's nasty. Finally, after like 10 minutes, the instructors are like, "Damn it, Graham, are you going to quit today?" And I'm like, no. Oh, yeah. You know, hoo-yah is this word that we use in BUD/S. It's just like an acknowledgement word, a motivational, false motivation, acknowledgement. It's just a word that we use for like everything when you're going through the training. And they're like, all right, this is disgusting. Get up. And I just looked at the guys next to me and I'm just like, I'm sorry. You know, they're like, dude, this is nasty. And we went over and hosed ourselves off, right? But that was a precursor, okay? I was able to make it through that because I didn't quit. Now we move into the actual dive phase portion where we get underwater and we're at the bottom of the pool and we have to remove our mask, right? And we have to swim laps and start doing all these scuba diving and diving drills with no mask on underwater. Well, I've started to realize now that I have a problem with sucking water up my nose, right? Because that's what was happening on the pool deck. But in that case, I kept failing and not sucking water up my nose, but I wouldn't quit the exercise. But now here we get into an environment where it's make or break. I have to perform. I'm underwater. If I don't perform, I'm going to drown. So I start swimming through the pool. In the beginning, I'm like, oh man, I take my mask off and I hold my nose. So I'm breathing like this so I don't suck the water up my nose. And the instructors start yelling at me, let go of your freaking nose. What are you doing? You can't hold on your nose. That's cheating. And I'm like, oh, sorry, right? Get back in the water. Quit holding your nose. Okay. So I'm down there and literally, I'm down there for not a few seconds, a few breaths. I suck water up my nose. I start to choke a little bit. I try to fight through it. I start to breathe again. I have to breathe, right? Obviously. Suck water up my nose. I start to choke again. And then basically I suck so much water in my nose. I get all this water in my lungs. I start getting water in my stomach. I start choking. And essentially, for all intents and purposes, I almost drown. I start throwing up in the regulator. My regulator gets clogged. I go to breathe in. I suck puke into my lungs. And it's just, it turns into a whole fiasco underwater. And I push off the bottom. I ditch my regulator. I come up to the top, free swimmer ascent, right? So I'm coming up from the bottom of the pool, exhaling all the way up to the surface so I don't get an arterial gas embolism, right? An AGE on the way up, right? Which is a big deal in training. So the instructors, they see me do this and they're freaking out and they pull me out on the pool deck and I try to tell them what's happening. I was choking and they run over and they look at my gear and they pick my regulator up and this frothy pink puke is just dripping out with all little chunks of food. It was nasty, right? But they look at it like, all right, he was choking. He did throw up in the regulator. And the one instructor's like, that's a non-verbal drop on request. So before, when I was doing the flutter kicks, I just didn't quit and I kept going. If you can't dive with your mask off, it doesn't matter if I say I don't quit. If I can't do it, it's a non-verbal quit, a non-verbal drop on request, a non-verbal DOR. So the one instructor who's a real hard ass, he's like, get him the hell off the pool deck. He's out of here. That's a non-verbal DOR, right? And now the other instructors on the pool deck, I'm like, holy crap. I'm done. It's over. And the other instructors go, hey man, was that an accident or do you think you can fix this? And I was like, I'm sucking the water up my nose. Like, if you can give me an opportunity, like I'll see if I can figure it out. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to figure it out. And the other instructor, who's the hard ass, is like, screw this. He's never going to figure it out. You either can do it or you can't. And genetically speaking, some people have a smaller flap in the back of their nasal canal, right? So some people are more inclined, right, genetically to suck water up their nose because they can't use that flapper to stop the water from coming up through their nasal cavity, which makes them do what's happening to me. So this guy's arguing that it's genetics. I'm not going to be able to do it. Why are we wasting the time? Get me off the pool deck. The other instructors are like, whoa, well, dude, Graham's been pretty good, man. He really puts out. Like, remember we were doing this, this, and this, and I hear them over there in the corner arguing or debating and talking, discussing about this, and I hear the instructors going to bat, and they start talking about things that I didn't even know they had paid attention to. There was times where we were doing certain evolutions where I was trying as hard as I could, right? And not trying to be the gray man and just try to get by and just meet the minimum standards just to, you know, I don't want to put all out and blow all my energy in one event because then I can't do something later, right? They had remembered all these other times where I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to try as hard as I can and do the best I can. I'll deal with the next evolution when we get there. So these guys go to bat for me. They came over and they're like, hey, look, dude, we went to bat for you, and this is what we got. We got you 2 hours. These guys are in the pool right now doing these other drills. By the time they finish these drills, if you haven't figured this out, we have to throw you out. But grab a rig, go in the low end, and we hope you figure it out, man. You got 2 hours. So I'm over in the low end, and I'm like, all right, let's see if we can figure this out. And I'm in there, and I got the regulator in my mouth, and I go down, I start choking again, sucking water up my nose. I come back up, and I'm like, man, I'm going back and forth for about an hour and 20 minutes. I am in the low end, coming up, choking, coughing up water, throwing up on the pool deck, and the instructors are just like, man, they're actually rooting for me, and they're just like, this sucks. We wanted that guy with us. And then after about an hour and 20 minutes, I finally figured something out. That if I put my throat in a certain way and I breathe like really hard up on an angle like this, like I can put pressure against that flap and not suck the water in my nose. So then I'm like, I got it. And I told them like, hey, I figured it out. So I had like 15 minutes left at this point, and they're like, all right, for the next 15 minutes, we want you to swim laps around the pool underwater while they finish up and prove to us that you're not going to suck water up your nose. And I did it, and it worked. And that one instructor was a hard ass. He's like, I'm going to take your, like, I'm the guy who's going to hammer you on your test where they do the one evolution where you're underwater and they do the surf passage underwater where it's like simulating you getting tumbled by the waves, and they come in and they pound you off the ground and they spin you around and they yank your regulator out and tighten knots and rip your mask off. And he's like, I got you, you're mine. I'm going to make sure that you don't just slide through the cracks and make it through this training and wind up the team if you don't belong to be here. And I'm like, oh crap, you know, hoo-yah, right? And he did, and it worked, and I made it through, okay? The point of this is, if you go with a gray man mentality, I would have never have had the opportunity to take that 2 hours in the low end to try to figure this out. Not that I'm special, right? Not that I'm like Super SEAL. But what I'm saying is, the guys who are watching and evaluating and keeping tabs on what we're doing, they took notice. And at the one point in time where I found the major stonewall, the major, you know, the crucible of my entire time at Buds was this moment, right? This is the one thing that I couldn't just power my way through, right, and put my head down and just run through, right? They gave me the opportunity to figure it out when most people, they wouldn't have. So how many people are watching you on a daily basis when you're at work? How many people are watching you when you're playing on the sports field? Or more so, how many people are watching you when you're not on the field but you're standing on the sideline, and how you're interacting with other people? Like, there's certain things that people are watching and keeping tabs on, and you can try all you want to be the gray man, right? But people are going to see the things that you do and go, that person goes above and beyond. That's someone I want to work with. That's someone who has integrity. That's someone who puts out. Or they're going to be like, that's the dude who's always half-assing. That's the dude who's always skating by. That's the dude who's always looking for the little cheat. Which one are you going to be? The Bud's motto, the Navy SEAL motto is, it pays to be a winner. The gray man isn't the winner, right? Who's the winner? The winner comes in first. The motto isn't, it pays to be the guy that no one notices. Like, imagine that was your motto. It pays to be the guy that no one notices. It pays to just get by, right? Those are the people that you get so frustrated with in the work environment, because you have ideas that could really take the company, or you have ideas that could make the sports team or your unit better, but people just want to work on a lack mentality, right? And just work through the status quo. It is what it is. That's the way it's been, right? Those are all BS comments. That's a BS way to live your life. And it's not a way to win. And it's not a way to be successful. If you want to win, if you want to be successful, you have to stand out at some point, because winners stand out. You can stand out for being a turd, or you can stand out for being a winner, right? And it doesn't mean coming in first place all the time. When we're talking about the battle of a heart, when we're talking about the battle of, do you give it all you got every single time, right? Do you want to win? Do you have the drive to win? That is what people are gauging. They want to see the fighting spirit. They want to see your ability to be a team player. All right, so now there's two main reasons why we might find ourselves being a gray man. And one is that we don't have enough confidence in our ability, that if people see us, if we draw attention to ourselves, then for whatever reason, it's going to be a negative effect and we're not going to be able to make it. Whatever attention comes our way, we're not strong enough to persevere through whatever it is that may be the challenge that comes out of this. The second reason will be that we're not a team player and we're being lazy, okay? We don't want to be lazy and just roll through life. Like we mentioned in the video, if we approach life that way, if we approach our team, our work, the job, whatever it is, the mission, at some point in time, that lack mentality, that laziness is going to come back, and it's going to have a negative effect on us, and it's going to bite us in the butt, and it's probably going to put us in a position that we may not be able to overcome. So we can either face the challenge head on with confidence, right, by trying our best, or we can face the challenge, a different challenge, and get no support because we've never been a team player to begin with, and we're going to be all alone facing that challenge, right, by ourselves. So in this, I would ask you for some reflection. What is it that you're so scared of that you're trying not to draw attention to yourself in the process of winning? Okay? Why are you afraid of winning? There's a lot of us who sabotage ourselves and we don't want to win because we don't want that attention, right? What is it that you're sabotaging and why? It's time to move on past that, right? You can make it through, but you have to have momentum to drive through whatever it is that's holding you back. Where are you being lazy? Where are you not being a team player? Ask yourselves, when you finish up for the day doing whatever the task is, are you looking to just roll out? Or do you look to the others around you and you go, hey man, how can I help you out? Are you constantly trying to get yours finished, achieve your goal, achieve your task, and because you're trying to win, right? Maybe you're ahead of the schedule. So when you get yours taken control of and yours taken care of, do you constantly look to the others and say, hey man, how can I help you? Where can I help? Where do you need me? What can I do? Or are you selfish? Okay, so now let's ask ourselves, in what areas can I start to reach out and overachieve and start to impact those around me and lend them a hand or help them achieve their goals or the community goal, the group goal, the mission. Third thing is let's stop doing things with a, that's good enough mentality, that lack mentality. And let's start getting motivated and excited about the things that we have to do. Even if it's something like cleaning a floor, right? You're there, you're putting in the time anyway. When people come and they look at your work, they go, oh, did he just come in here for 20 minutes and half-ass cleaning the floor? Or do they come in and go, dude, this floor looks really good, right? If you're gonna clean the floor, you're there. Do it the best you can. If you're gonna do something, do it the best you can. Don't half-ass it. People are watching and judging, and they're making predictions or making assumptions on, is this someone I want to work for? And if you miss a spot, the reaction's either going to be, yeah, they missed a spot because they half-ass everything they do, or they go, hey dude, that guy is good to go, that must have been an accident. That is going to be a judgment call based off of all the other times they've watched you work. So where are we lacking? Where are we not being motivated and enthusiastic, right, or dedicated and disciplined in what it is that we do for work, whether the task is for the job, for the sport, you know, whether it's the building blocks that we need to reach our goal? Your daily life matters, and people are watching you and they're judging your integrity based on how much energy and how much pride you take in your work. So I'm asking you, where are the areas in your life where you're shortchanging things that you can start doing more and doing it with more motivation and taking more pride in your work? What is it that you do that you can now do better? What are team things that you do that when you finish, you can start looking to help others? How can I help you achieve your goal? How can we get this thing done together? Where are the areas where maybe you used to do things and you weren't excited about it, but you can do it now? Maybe you were doing a good job, but with a crap attitude. Where are things that you can now do it with a good attitude and start to stand out, right? We want to stand out in a positive way through the quality of our work, through how much work we can do, and through the attitude that we do it with. And when we do it like this, when you start transferring and transitioning your work ethic to look like this, by default, you will no longer be the gray man. You will start to thrive in your workplace, whether that's sports or business, it doesn't matter. You will thrive in that zone. And when people see that, they will be drawn to you and they will want to work for you. They will want to work with you and they will go to bat for you. Do not be the gray man. Thrive.